Hello and welcome to Mississippi Insight. I'm Byron Brown. Thank you for joining us. This week, the Democratic candidate for Agriculture and Commerce Commissioner puts forward his case. We brought you our candid interview with Republican incumbent Andy Gibson last month. Now, Robert Bradford details his background in farming, his concerns about this year's drought, and his critique of the Mississippi State Fair. That's all ahead this Sunday on Mississippi Insight. Robert Bradford wants to become the first African-American to serve as Mississippi's Agriculture and Commerce Commissioner. The Democrat from Adams County currently serves as the county's Emergency Management Director. He beat out two opponents in the August primary and will face Republican incumbent Andy Gibson on November 7th. Robert Bradford joins us now. Welcome to Mississippi Insight.
How you doing, Byron?
All right, thank you for joining us.
Doing great, doing great.
Why do you want to become the Ag and Commerce Commissioner?
Well, you know, the time is now. We got to have great leadership. And as we look across this great state, Mississippi has enough resources to be self-sustainable. But we have to tap into those, and we have to be able to utilize every portion of the state. And I bring to the table a plethora of different backgrounds, different experiences that sets me aside from my opponent. And it really can help the state of Mississippi as we battle, you know, food famines. We battle diversity, disparities in the Mississippi Delta. So I'm running to bring the whole community back to Mississippi.
Talk about some of those qualities that you have that you're talking about as far as to make you suitable for the Ag Commissioner.
Being a fourth-generation farmer from Belzona, Mississippi, our farmers there in Isola, I understand firsthand what a good farm looks like and how people strive to make a difference. I also have a degree in plant and soil science from Alcorn State University. I did 25 years in the United States military, retired as a military officer, so I have the leadership skills, organizational skills, and the logistics skills to run a top agency and to see where those deficiencies are and start working those right away.
Well, what does the Ag and Commerce Commission, what does it need to be doing that it's not doing under Commissioner Gibson?
Well, first of all, you understand what the ag position is. You have to manage, you got to lead from the front. You have a 220 plus organization, roughly $24.1 million budget, and also equipment. So you have to be able to manage those and have a vision to make sure they're doing what they need to be able to support the farmers and anyone that want to get into agriculture business here in the state of Mississippi. And we have to understand that those agencies are only going to be strong as your leader. So if your leader is not doing what he needs to do and making sure those departments are great, they're doing standards, they're not discriminating against each other, that's going to make a tip of the spear department. And that's what I want to bring to the Department of Agriculture and Commerce, that leadership that's lacking.
You're running for office in a year when Mississippi farmers have been dealing with a severe drought. What are your thoughts on the impact of the ag sector, and what does the state need to do to support farmers in this difficult time?
Well, you know, that's part of my experience I bring to the table as a certified emergency manager in Adams County, understanding mitigation practices. We have to teach our farmers mitigation practices. We learn from mistakes, and we come back and we fight for those. Drought is something we can't control, but we can control those farmers making sure they got adequate drinking water for their animals or for their crops. And we got to make sure that they have those resources, and the ones that can't afford it, tap into some of the grants programs that the USDA have. And you, being an ag commissioner in this state, you have to be able to understand one level up and one level down, which is the lowest level, and understand what funds come from the United States Department and teach those educational things to our local farmers and let them apply for those grants and help them out. So we got to be able to understand where they come from and understand how we can get them to where they need to be in farming.
Are you concerned about how the drought will impact food prices, and since a lot of prices of groceries are already inflated?
Right, you're going to have that. You know, the consumer price index, you know, that's the thing that everybody look at, and people want to make money. But we have to understand that, you know, farming here in Mississippi is the #1 commodity. But we also have to understand we got to be able to take care of that. We got to be able to have enough resources to offset that. So, you know, that's why I believe in the whole community. It takes a whole community to push agriculture. That means if one person is lacking, they depend on another person. You know, being an emergency manager working disasters, we see a lot of agriculture disasters throughout the state, but people come together here in Mississippi, but we only come together during disasters. What if we come together in the blue skies where we can work together, train and teach. And that's one of my platforms, is educating people on how we can survive and make sure we got enough resources here to help our farmers. So when we get into a bad spot, we can be able to pull from those resources and help the Mississippi people out where they don't have to pay a lot of money at the grocery stores.
What policies would you like to pursue as Ag Commissioner to benefit farmers and consumers alike?
Well, we got to make sure we're taking care of home. The Bible tells us charity starts at home and spreads abroad. What we got now, we got a lot of big corporations making a lot of money. I know they do. But we have to make sure the people that's partaking in that are taken care of. And that's my whole community plan. Getting down to those local supervisors, those local elected officials, and putting those programs in those communities that hurts the most. And when I say whole community, you have to understand what community needs, the needs of the community. You don't just send stuff to a community they don't need, because that's waste. And we see a lot of that in the agricultural, where when they just send a truckload of something, or food, fruits or vegetables to those communities and they don't need it. So that's the importance of the whole community. Understanding those local leaders and understand those people that what they need, we can bring that to them, and we be able to suffice everything that we need for the state of Mississippi.
The Commissioner is a key organizer and promoter of the Mississippi State Fair. The 2023 fair ended a week ago. More than 500,000 people attended the fair. Are you prepared to take over the management and the challenges of the state fair?
Well, I did that. I did a leaders recon. I went and tested it for myself this past year to see what we lacking. And the only thing I have a problem with, it didn't look like Mississippi. Mississippi has enough people here that know how to cook, that know how to enjoy a festival, and we got to tap into that. If we just got one entity that's controlling the fair, it's going to be one-sided. We got to be able to put Mississippians at that state fair, and you'll get more people coming there. And I got another thing to say about the numbers. If you go back into the past, all the numbers are being the same way. It just went up 10,000 people. I don't know how that is, but we got to be accurate and open-minded and also transparent when we come to the state fair. We have to understand that if we got a budget, what monies we make, the Mississippi people need to see it. And that's my whole community plan. If you involve the whole community, get community buy-in, people will come to the state fair. It won't be people just lacking out and we don't want to come because it doesn't show our culture. So you have to be a diverse leader and understand that. Know what people you have in Mississippi, know what their needs are, know what they like. And that's my intent, is to have a fair commission board to understand that from different backgrounds, because those are the people here in Mississippi that's going to support the state fair, and they're going to bring that in. We got to start at home. We can't have outside entities coming in, running our state fair and taking the money back out. I haven't seen what the state fair had brought in for the last 2 years. I did a public record request. I don't think nobody has. That's the transparency that we need to have. We got to be honest with ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with being honest. If the state fair didn't do a great job this year, just go ahead and say it. But you have to involve the whole community and make sure we are taking care of ourselves and putting those people in that state fair that looks like Mississippi.
When you say it looks like Mississippi, you're 500,000 people, you say that wasn't a good fair? Is that what you're saying?
Well, where's the counter? I'm in emergency management. I know you can count people today like an airport. They have devices. When people go through, they tell you how many people went through a day. Those are some of the technology that we're going to bring to the state fair, and be honest with the people. Anybody can say we had 500,000 people, but show me that. Every year should be different. If your numbers are different, they should be different every year if you got a lot of things coming on. So those are some of the things I want to correct. It's time out for fooling people, dressing up stuff to try to make ends meet or try to make people like we were so successful. So, that's the things we have to do, be honest with ourselves. If the fair is not doing what it needs to do, we need to bring in new ideas. Bring in young, fresh ideas that understand that the ones that's going to go. If it's just tailored to one side, you're only going to get one side of the numbers.
We're going to continue on this front and Bradford's vision for the next state fair when Mississippi Insight continues. When you say it doesn't look like Mississippi, what do you mean by it doesn't look like Mississippi?
Right, when you go in the fair, and I'm from Adams County, I'm from Belzona, we have people with grills, frying catfish, just like a HBCU tailgate. You got people that can cook. So if you foster that type of environment in the state fair where you got local community people that can cook, barbecue cook-offs, that will bring more people in. If you go there, they serve the same thing: corn dogs, hot dogs, biscuits. I'm from the Delta. We got to have sausage with our biscuits. You know, it's just one of those things that you just have to think outside the box when you're talking about state fairs. And I visited a lot of other state fairs in South Carolina, and their diversity, it's just overwhelming because, you know, you have African Americans, you have Hispanics, you know, have Indians. You have to have that diversity in a state fair because we're all here in one Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. And so you want to bring that to the fair?
Right, because I went and seen what other state fairs done, and I was just, you know, my first time visiting, I was just shocked being African American, you know, when I saw, you know, barbecue grills, soul food, and you can get all that. If we bring that mentality back here, watch the economy grow, and you watch the participation you have. And another thing I looked at, the security of the fair. If the fairgrounds, if the safest place for kids, why are you discriminating, not allowing kids to come in? As a military officer, I understand perimeters. If you got the safest place in the state of Mississippi, why not let people come in regardless of age? Because that's the key thing between me and my opponent. I understand safety parameters. I understand the idea of having a security plan, being an emergency manager, also being a military officer, that if we have that secure spot, we don't have to discriminate, because I know there's a lot of single mothers out there that can't bring their kids to the fair, so they allow them to go with other people. If they're inside that compound, they should be safe. And we got to understand that we shouldn't be turning nobody away, because it takes a village, and that's what my whole community plan is. Once I become ag commissioner, is getting in those departments of division, incorporating the whole community, get the mindset of community buy-in, people to take care of something if they're part of it.
What should the numbers be? What do you think a good fair should be for Mississippi? What numbers are you thinking that we should be bringing into the fair?
When you open a state fair like that, it should look like a Chick-fil-A line. It should be people backed up all the way to Highway, 55 saying we can't get in there, because there's a lot going on during the time frame of Mississippi. You got a lot of homecoming, you got a lot of other places that's having fairs and things of that nature. So there's some talking that we have to do to say, when do we have the state fair? A lot of times people are afraid of change. But if you step out on faith and change something, you're going to see the difference.
Another story that we've been keeping an eye on, Commissioner Gibson chairs the committee on foreign purchases of farmland in Mississippi, and they have been holding hearings on the issue. Over 777,000 acres of land in Mississippi are at least partially controlled by international interests. Are you concerned about this growing trend in foreign ownership here in the state?
Farming in Mississippi runs deep to me. And I believe that if your land is being used, it's hard to purchase something being used. You have to have the mentality that if something is laying dormant, we have to have programs to be able to help people and help individuals to get that land operational and putting it in the economy. This has been going on a long time. The federal government has been tracking down on this. This is nothing that's not new. He just started working on it because I'm running. And the federal government has been working this since you're trying to see it. This is something you take care of day one when you come in. You have to understand the threats and vulnerabilities of agriculture. So this is something that we have to do day one. And understand that people are going to get around ways of buying land. But they can't buy land if it's operational. That's the whole key. Only thing they're going to do, they're going to change the name, put it in another entity, and you're still going to have the same problem. Let's put that land that's not used. Let's help people start farming. Let's have the educational things that we lacking from the Department of Agriculture here in this state, and teaching at the lowest level, because my whole community plan works at the lowest level, teaching individuals how to farm. I go across this state and I ask young kids where do they get their food from. They tell me two things: Walmart and McDonald's. And to me, that is a shame. We got to start teaching our young kids agriculture. Some are being taught agriculture, but where I'm from, they're not. And we have to have a balanced playing field as an agriculture commission. There's nothing politics in agriculture. And I tell people, only thing blue and red is blueberries and strawberries. And when we go to the store, we don't see if a Republican grower or a Democrat were born. We got to have that mentality when it comes to agriculture in this great state.
Democrats have struggled over the years in Mississippi to win a statewide election. What makes you think you can win a statewide election this election season? Right,
because I understand voters. Some voters vote primary. I mean, they vote for their political parties. But I want the Mississippi voters to look at record, look at accomplishment, look at education, look at leadership, because doing the same thing over and over again is called insanity. There's no politics in agriculture. And I'm running not on political ideas, because I understand that when political gets in agriculture, a lot of people starve here in Mississippi. We have food deserts here in Mississippi. That's a no-no. I plan to change that. You know, I'm not running for a Democratic ticket just to be a Democratic agenda. I'm running because I'm an agriculturalist. I went to school for it. I'm a fourth-generation farmer. I understand it. I know what soil does, and I know what it needs, and I know what triggers our agriculture and what helps grows our economy. It's buy-in. It's the whole community approach. So I'm hoping that Mississippians look at the individuals, what they're running on, and look at their work history, their education, and make a sound decision on that.
You believe voters are going to turn out in November, a large number?
We've been doing a lot of great things. As I've been on the campaign, I've been educating a lot of our people that don't understand agriculture here in Mississippi and don't understand the vital part they play. So I've been getting good reviews, and we just gonna have to see on November the 7th when people get out. And we just hope people just get motivated because it's time for a change in this great state.
Robert Bradford, Democratic candidate for Ag Commission. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, Byron. Thanks.
All right. And we'll be right back.
Thanks.
I'm Austin Barber. Listen, if you're educated about what's happening in your hometown, you can make a difference. Your hometown matters. Your home state matters. Get educated, get involved.
I am Brandon Jones. What Austin and I agree on are that these issues are very important. It's not a joke. It matters how these decisions are made. The impact can sometimes be life or death.
We're focused on politics on Mississippi Insight, 10:30 Sunday mornings, only on WJTV. Once again, Governor Tate Reeves is accusing Democratic challenger Brandon Presley of campaign finance violations in his role as Public Service Commissioner. 12 News' senior political correspondent Richard Lake has more on Reeves' comments amid an ongoing legal challenge against the governor's campaign.
In two separate ads, the Tate Reeves campaign alleges Brandon Presley of breaking the law as Northern District Public Service Commissioner. The ads highlight campaign funds Presley received from energy companies, specifically a solar farm company, Silicon Ranch. The Reeves campaign claims those contributions break Mississippi campaign finance law. Mississippi law prohibits public service commissioners from taking campaign contributions from, quote, any electric utility company or any other public utility that the PSC regulates. On October 9th, Silicon Ranch sent a cease and desist letter to the Reeves campaign, claiming the ad was defamatory and ordering for it to be pulled. Silicon Ranch contends that its executives donated to Presley in their individual capacity and that Silicon Ranch is not classified as a public utility under Mississippi law. Governor Reeves disagrees.
We're going to continue to focus on running ads that differentiate between us. My opponent has obviously and clearly broken the law, and I think it's anybody that can read sees that.
So you're going to keep running that spot even though they've issued the cease and desist request?
Well, obviously the other side is playing politics. You've got green energy folks that my opponent regulates that have written him campaign checks, and that is illegal in Mississippi. There's no question that is illegal in Mississippi.
Here's the problem with Reeves' claim. Unlike public utilities such as Entergy or Atmos, Silicon Ranch has no retail customers. And according to Public Service Commission General Counsel Ross Hammond's quote, speaking through its orders, the commission has consistently found that Silicon Ranch, as well as other companies, are not public utilities. That means campaign contributions from representatives of Silicon Ranch do not violate Mississippi campaign finance law, given it is not a public utility. In a statement, the Presley campaign said, quote, Tate Reeves is so desperate to cover up the fact his campaign is funded by criminals in the largest public corruption scandal in state history that he is willing to lie and make up any smear he can. 12 News has reported on this matter before. According to our findings, all three public service commissioners, Democrat Presley and his two Republican colleagues, received contributions from alternative energy companies, as is allowed under current law. At the time of the first report, Republican Central District Commissioner Brent Bailey said, quote, I have never taken a contribution from a regulated public utility and never will. The law is absolutely clear. Alternative and renewable energy providers are not public utilities because they do not sell electricity to the public for compensation. It would take legislative action to change Mississippi campaign finance law and redefine what a public utility really is. Reporting in Jackson, Richard Lake, 12 News.
Hinds County Supervisor David Archie is appealing a judge's ruling that dismissed his election challenge lawsuit. The District 2 supervisor is appealing to the Mississippi Supreme Court. Special Judge Barry Ford last month dismissed the suit with judicial prejudice because it was outside the 10-day filing period. Archie is suing the Hinds County Democratic Party after he lost the August primary race to Anthony Smith. The incumbent claims that there was a so-called high-tech election heist during the race. And in Washington, Mississippi's congressional delegation split 3-1 last week and 3 votes on Jim Jordan's nomination for House Speaker. But the Ohio Republican failed in all 3 votes to win a majority. Republicans Michael Guest, Trent Kelly, and Mike Ezell all voted for Jordan, but Betty Thompson voted with fellow Democrats in favor of Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. House Republicans decided in a secret ballot after Friday's vote to drop Jordan as their Speaker nominee, and they made no decision as of this taping on who to nominate next. One way or the other, House business, the people's business, will remain at a standstill until a Speaker is chosen. Big thanks to Robert Bradford for joining us this week. We'll have this interview and our discussion with Andy Gibson online for further review at WJTV.com. We'll be back next weekend with more of the political and current affairs coverage that you demand. I'm Byron Brown from all of us here at 12 News. Make it a great weekend.